Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Let me first say it's really great to see all of you. And more importantly, I want to thank the chairman and all the leaders of the party for all the sacrifices that you've made over the years, and the sacrifices you continue to make here this weekend. Coming into CPAC in itself is a sacrifice of many of you, but it's an important endeavor for the future of our state and the future of our nation. And you can be proud that we've had a great and glorious history as a party. And the book is not closed on our history. I know Governor Cuomo would like to close the book on the Conservative Party with his ending fusion voting, but hopefully that's not going to happen because of the hard work of Jerry Cassar and the committee and those of you who financially supported the lawsuit. And I don't think that's ended yet either, so you can continue to support the lawsuit if possible. I'm happy to be here this morning. I think my first endeavor was supposed to be to introduce our former Attorney General, Dennis Sackett. My understanding, he is under the weather and got the flu and couldn't be here with us. But I'm fortunate to be able to introduce his substitute, and in no way is this man a substitute. George Amedore, former Assemblyman, presently a New York State Senator. He's the oldest of 5 boys, Vice President of Amedore Homes, second generation family business. He has built his family and his company has built thousands of houses for families throughout the capital region, which has also created hundreds and hundreds of jobs. He brings the experience of a small businessman to the state senate, which gives him the energy to fight, to campaign, and bring about lower taxes and reducing government regulations. More importantly is, I think what stuck out to me, the Amedore family has involved themselves in many charitable endeavors throughout the capital region, including rebuilding the family room at Albany's Ronald McDonald House, the construction of a new hospice facility, the remodeling of Camp Amedore and Adirondack-style family space at Bernard and Millie Decker Children's Hospital at Albany Medical Center, and the construction of a local memorial to honor our veterans. George is more than a state senator. He's more than a legislator. He's a businessman who's provided a lot for our state. His family recognizes success and gives back to the community in many, many ways. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my honor to introduce to you Senator George Amedore to speak to us today about physician suicide. Thank you. You think they would have told me to drag it? Thank you, Janet. Thank you. Spread it out. Maybe the new chairman didn't want to hear me speak that long. I don't know. Maybe, but it was a year ago. I will spread it out now. I know. It was a year ago that I stood almost basically right in front of that table at our state executive committee meeting and announced, no one knew it, announced that I had made up my mind to step back as state chairman of the party after state chairman after 30 years. And I could see, it was a little emotional, it was tough to deal with, but I read it all day long, the rest of the day, people ask me, was I okay? Was I feeling all right? Is there a problem? So I wasn't going to the hospital. I had no desire to go to the hospital. I don't know anyone in the room wants to go to the hospital, okay? And look, the time had come. And do I miss dealing with all of you every day? Yes. Do I miss the excitement and the challenge every day? Yes. Am I looking over my shoulder and regretting what I did? No. I feel good about what I did because I feel good that we had a great run. And I just thought it was time to hand over the leadership to someone else. There's always new ways to do things. And if you're there for 30 years, you can get a little stale. So I think I'm stretching out. I think I see coming down the hall. But I'll stretch it out a little bit longer so you know.
He's here.
So I'm stretching out this introduction. Senator, I'm moving this way. I'm making this introduction a little bit longer, just so that you could show up, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, Senator George Amedore.
You saw me walking all the way down. Well, good morning, everyone. How are you? Thank you so much for being here and for I'm still going to call him Chairman Long because there's no question, since I've been involved in public office, he has been my chairman of the Conservative Party, and I thank him for your unwavering support and your guidance and dedication to our cause here in New York State, and for making sure that conservative-minded people have a say and a stake here in New York State, even though the governor says that we don't deserve to live here or we should just move out. And I also want to congratulate and thank our new chairman, Jerry Broussard, for his leadership and his dedication, and for hosting the 53rd conference? 53rd conference, Conservative Conference in New York State. So congratulations and carrying the torch, and you look good, by the way. You look good. So thank you so much. I got a phone call yesterday, and they said, Senator, can you help us out a little bit? I said, what's that? And I said, well, tomorrow at 11:30, which Mondays are literally my worst day of the week in terms of schedule and things, just because of both lives I live with, my private sector life, and also being elected to the state senate, and Mondays seem to be tough. And but when the call came, there was no question I was going to try to always make do with what I have, and to have the opportunity to speak to all of you. I was not going to say no to Sean Marie. So Sean Marie, thank you so much. I understand, I know. If I said no, the wrath that would come my way. So I said, well, what would you like for me to speak on? Well, we have this segment on physician-assisted suicide. And I thought, Sean Marie, I'm a home builder. I'm not a physician. But you are like our guy in the state senate that understands and values life. And I said, say no more. You don't have to convince me. So we face this issue in the state of New York, and we all know because we live it. We are here in New York, and we have this one-party rule in Albany that seems right now that they're trying to outdo the various factions of the Democratic Party. Who's going to do what? Who's going to be more left or more progressive than the other factions? And where can and how can we maybe paint the state legislature, whether it's the Assembly Democratic majority or the Senate Democratic majority, how are they going to paint the governor as maybe a centrist or maybe on the right side of the line, and The governor seems to be, in the two speeches he gave with the State of the State as well as in the budget address, trying to define the word progressive. And so I just find it ironic that they're trying to really identify themselves as, they don't want to call themselves Democratic anymore, they don't want to call themselves liberals anymore, they want to call themselves progressives. Yeah, we all want progress. But there's no question that progress also means to uphold and to adhere to, I believe, the fundamental rights and moral obligations that we have in society and as human beings. And there's no question that when God created us all, He created a structure for us because He loves life. He is the author and the finisher of life. And when we remove God from the public debate, we then find ourselves in this quandary, in these public debates of what then is morality. And it seems like this discussion and this debate has been going on for centuries, there's no question, and this bill that Senator Savino has, the Death with Dignity Act, sounds so pretty and so nice and so compassionate, is nothing more than one of those issues that continues to redefine how humans or how we in society should govern ourselves, or what's the ethical standard or the new normal of morality. And anytime you take and try to rewrite the moral compass or the structure or standard in a human sense, you are distinguishing or erasing the godly principle or aspect of it all. And so if you look at the acts and the actions that this new majority has taken over the last year, we see in the state of New York an expansion of abortion. We now in the state of New York have the law that says that a physician or doctor can abort a baby up to the day of birth, time of birth. We don't even really need to have a licensed physician to administer that procedure. We also then face this issue with this particular subject. Where is and what is the end of life to an individual? The question really is does government really, or should government really interfere or be involved in the whole quest of individual sense of being or decisions that the individual should make in the value of life? And you know that for many years, Albany, the great debate over the value of life has become very political and very divisive. And that's absolutely shameful. You know, when I was first asked to get involved in the state legislature back in 2007, I pondered it long and hard, and I thought, as a business person, you never want to miss out on an opportunity of life. And as a developer and builder, you always challenge yourself of, okay, I'm never going to walk away from a deal. Let me go through the due diligence and find out and look at the balance sheet and the profit and loss statement and what the projection of a potential investment would be before I say yes to an opportunity or no. And in this situation, when I was faced an opportunity to serve in the legislature, it was a matter of, if we are so willing to give of our time, our talent, and our treasures to help out those in need in our communities or around the world, whether it is an orphan or a widow or someone who is absolutely incapable of giving care to themselves and needs help, maybe this was a great opportunity for me to be then involved in the state legislature. So I said yes. And this debate has been going on even since that time, 2007. And this bill has been around probably even longer than that. And I know that they kind of reworked and they modified the various provisions of the bill, but the simple fact is the question is still there. What is the value of life? Who's valuing life? And how does government then think that they have the authority when they did not create life? But it seems to be what we see in society today, that many people's faith is in the creation and not in the creator. And here we are today. Will this bill probably come to the floor for a vote in the state Senate? Probably. The governor has made mention, he has pursed it from his lips that he would support such provisions, and we will probably then see it, and if it does come up for a vote, he would then sign it. And that goes to where we are as conservative-minded individuals, as people who value life. What do we do? How can we be involved and engaged in this discussion? Education? Yes. Who do we educate? Do we educate our neighbor, our loved one, our co-worker, our friend, our children? You can. But sometimes the discussion when we try to educate someone ends up becoming and turning into a debate politically. And then it seems to be lost in the value of the discussion that needs to be had in important topics. And the teaching of such ethical or moral concept is lost because of politics. Because then we end up becoming political ourselves. And it's a fine line that we walk, but it's one that we need to walk carefully, because it goes back to truth. We all have opinions. We all want to be one of those talking heads on, whether it's Fox News, most of you want to be on Fox News in this room, but others would want to be on C-SPAN or CNN or MSNBC to be one of the talking heads in the debate. And we then get lost. I think that as individuals who, if we are to be a society and a people of faith and respect God's law and order, then we need to continue to go to the source, and that is His Word. And His Word gives us instruction. His Word gives us guidance. His Word gives us wisdom. Even how to handle or discuss or treat someone. And when someone gets in our face and gets so opinionated and so forceful and so argumentative that they are going to push the envelope and push their agenda, as progressives right now are doing, we can say, okay, well, I'll turn my cheek, or I won't get as animated or as aggressive, and I'll just walk away quietly. Or we can stand our ground in truth. We can stand our ground in the principles of what we believe in. And there's nothing wrong with standing your ground. You see, even as people that believe in love and charity and respect and value of life, it doesn't mean we have to lay down. It doesn't mean we have to walk away. It means we need to be engaged in the public discussion. But we need to show a light that is far brighter than any light that the other side tries to portray and show. And the younger generation today will think that, the Death with Dignity Act seems so compassionate, so caring, so right, because today, whether it's the millennial generation, or even Generation X, or Y, or Z, or all these other generations to come, what we see is a more godless society and more lawless acts than we do upholding a moral, righteous compass that is written in the Word of God. Because it's not being taught as it once was. No one wants to discuss it. They don't want to have a debate about it. We all want our own freedoms, our own liberties, our own rights. Well, this is a civil liberty issue. And the legislators took away even the religious exemption of vaccination. Think about what they're trying to do. None of us want to spread a terrible disease and cause someone else to be sick. But they took away someone's ability or right based on faith. The government is in the way. You see, this government in Albany right now, whether it's the governor or the Democratic Party, they believe they are the authority. And they're trying to strengthen their position in society to then educate society on a way of life that is dependent on the institution, the creation, instead of the creator. So we need to be engaged, we need to educate. We need to understand that physicians, yeah, they're called, and they are purposed in life, and they are educated, and they go through tremendous hours and rigorous regime of practicing medicine. But you know, they are held to an oath, and they're also held to an ethical code. We should not, in government, ever devalue both the oath and ethical code that a physician goes by, lives by, or is trained by. Because a physician is seen or known to be part of that healer in someone's difficult situation of life. And they are to be alongside and to help the patient-physician partnership and relationship that is there. But this particular bill would remove that and allow the assistants to end, to devalue their life, to end that relationship. Many physicians that I have spoken to, in many groups, not-for-profits, parents, physicians, have come and spoken to me, lobbied in my office to give both sides of the argument on this. Who's the proponent of this, and who's the opponent of it? And I can say that there may be good arguments on both sides. But we have to then go to the truth. The truth hasn't changed. The truth has always been. Where do you believe life comes from? Who is the author and finisher of it? And when you keep that perspective and look at it that way, how then can government then say, we think that we're going to just allow a set of rules or laws that devalue life and allow someone to take someone else's life when someone so feels like they can't take it anymore. Because I know, maybe the way the bill is written, we're talking about terminally ill individuals. But if New York State becomes the 10th state in the nation to enact physician-assisted suicide, we would be standing on the tallest slippery slope, looking down this slope that would really devalue life and then set maybe a new definition of it. How do you handle, how do we handle the discussion of those with mental incapacitation or severe physical disabilities? Those who are caregivers and those not-for-profit groups are gravely concerned over this bill and what the cause and the effect would be. How do we just allow someone, if we fight so hard, we spend millions upon millions of dollars in trying to help someone overcome their addiction, their stronghold, or their mental illness of some sort? How do we just then say in government, it's okay. Tell your doctor you want to end your life, and they then can prescribe the right formula and medication for you to take it. Just say goodbye to your loved ones before you do so. This is very dangerous. This is wrong. And we all have a moral obligation to do the right thing. Not political obligation, because politics is bringing this discussion, but a moral obligation to educate and to help prevent such acts that can harm life, that will end life, and that will redefine, again, the moral compass or standard that we know and that our country has been so blessed to live by for so many years. Let's not look to human morality or ethics, but let's go back to the source of life, the author of life, and see how we can continue to uphold and value life in this debate. I thank you for the time you've given me to speak.
There's some questions we wanted.
You want questions too? And answers? Okay. Q&A.
Q&A. That means, any questions?
Don? Thank you, guys. Senator, you're being too nice. They're not progressive. That sounds so like, just a progressive. They're socialists. And if they're also running on the Working Family Communist Party line, they are the worst evil we can think of. You lost your line with Ruben Diaz in the Senate. He's a Democrat now. You lost your line with Bill Larkin. What are you guys going to do to take those boxing gloves off and actually call them what they are and get off this smooth progressive thing? I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure. Look, we could the conference, the minority conference, take a more aggressive position and stance on some of these issues. We have We do. There's some that say that we don't throw enough grenades. There's some that say we are not bold and call them out as we should. You know, my approach has always been, I always want to treat people how I expect to be treated back. And we can have victory and we can make headway and we can gain ground in the debate by being very smart and very meek, but not weak. And so, yeah, we can take the gloves off and we can throw some punches. I can tell you that the media doesn't care what we do, because we're never going to have the side of the media to even give us much attention. They never have. They turned it their other way.
You need Fox News.
So, yeah, we need more Fox News. So we have, I think that we need to, as Senate minority, we need to grow it back. We need to win it back. We need to have a balance in Albany. And in 2020, this next campaign cycle is vitally important. Yes, you all know that I announced that I will not be running for re-election. And that bears to that question of, can the 46th Senate District be held in Republican conference? I hope so. That the successor who will be running for the seat I serve on the Republican line, and hopefully the conservative line, will win through a lot of hard work, but I don't have the crystal ball. I just know what it took for me to win. I can say that, you know, there's a way to fight, and there's a way to get things to progress and to really be victorious. And my approach may be a little different than maybe even Senator Tedesco's approach. We love to call him the grenade thrower in the conference. He always comes up with these great little slogans or taglines or sometimes gimmicks. He wore a tie that said like dysfunctional or something on the state of the state. Yeah, he grabbed great media attention, but the ultimate goal here is did we gain any ground because of it? We got to be smart. We got to be professional. We can't compromise on what we stand for. That's how we're going to win things. Any other questions?
Oh, no, there's one there, Mike.
Go ahead. You spoke of physician-assisted suicide, which most people think is, you know, the terminally ill and the infirm, older folks. But this transcends into an aspect of another evil, abortion. Based on health, welfare, etc., Down syndrome has virtually been eradicated by amniocentesis that predicts that the child will be born with Down syndrome. And I know people who have gone through this, and the first thing that the medical community does is say, here's where you get it taken care of. So we can take care of. Here's where you go to a ward. So that's another aspect that transcends right back to birth. And they go and say, well, this is not going to be a viable person, it's going to be a sick person. And in our day and age, there are thriving people with Down syndrome. But, you know, this touches on it too. You're looking at someone's health and welfare, deciding whether they deserve life or not.
Great point. And again, that big slippery slope that New York State would be looking down and face, because this goes. They want a little teeny inch. Because you know that they're not going to get a foot, they're going to get yards. That's why we can't allow them to have, and we stopped them for so many years when we had the majority in the state Senate. But we don't have it right now. And we've already seen the effects of that within months last year. But the very aggressive left, whether you want to call it socialist agenda, progressive agenda, liberal agenda. I just call it a wrong agenda because it does not help New York grow in any way.
Any other questions for the senator? One in the back?
Just a quick comment, and thank you so much for your speech. It was wonderful, and I just wanted, if anyone has raised the fact that Cuomo very proudly announced this big report on suicide in New York State, big task force, big report about preventing suicide, specifically for LGBTQ young men. So given the fact that this is critical, if you start talking about physician-assisted suicide, that if someone's depressed, they're not going to see the difference. Suicide keeps rising rates, and it's such a tragedy. And this might be a good way to kind of muddy the arguments on their side. We really want to do this now, when so many of our young people and our middle-aged people are committing suicide in our state.
Great point, and it is very hypocritical. You know, we all face it, because we know, we see it. There's a $6.2 billion budget deficit that a lot of it is caused by Medicaid. And, you know, so we say, well, what's going to be cut? And I know it's going to be cut. Those services that are going to be cut to those not-for-profits who are giving direct care to those who are less fortunate and who are not capable of taking and fending for themselves in the hospitals. And so, but an alternative to this whole bill would really be, is New York State really going to be? And if these politicians, when they want to talk about equality and care and love and compassion, are they then really going to do what is really compassionate and allow the expansion of palliative care and hospice care and the end-of-life care and allow more people to go that direction and they make provisions in the budget for that because it's costly. And we all know that many people can't afford to go to end of elder care type of facility. So we need to look at alternatives before we just make a public policy to say this is the new definition of value of life here by government.
Senator, thank you for coming. Thank you for speaking.